Yeah, easy. Healing is possible. Whoever's watching this video right now, you can heal yourself, and you can do it with the right support. It'll likely be a little harder than you expect, but it is possible. And that also, anyone watching this video, if you believe anything, it's that you're stronger than you think you are, and you're more powerful than you expect. And that goes for your body, your mind, how much you can influence others, how much you can influence the world around you. You're way more powerful than you think, and that can come out. You can share that with yourself and the people in your circle. It is possible, and high carb health saved my colon and my life. You changed my life, man. I'll never stop thanking you for it. I was watching YouTube videos and then eventually stumbled across high carb health when I was searching something along the lines of, I need to find a person who has UC and cured it themselves naturally. Something along the lines of that. And I saw you pop up and dove into your videos, and I loved that you were so chill, you were so genuine and authentic, but also you backed it all up with research, and that clicked for me. I need to look at their website, see if I can call them or email them or something, because here was a guy who did it, and I could do it too. There's no reason why I can't. Well, first off, the word free tripped my mind because I'm kind of a cheapskate, especially when it comes to big decisions like this. But I wanted to work with somebody who I could get some info from without having to give them any money or any personal information, because there's lots of scams out there and people who just want to take your money. And after meeting you, I could totally tell we clicked. It was exactly what I was looking for. Somebody who was genuine, had my condition and healed themselves, and also dives into the research. That just ticked all the boxes for me. And I knew this would be something that I would not regret. I mean, I would have paid you any amount of money at that point, seriously. Especially knowing what I know now, I'd go through it all again. And I just wish I would have found you sooner. I mean, the hardest lesson for me to learn was that I was my own problem, but also my own solution. And with the correct guidance, I could do anything. The cooking process was crazy because we would start with basically potatoes, carrots, and broccoli. Maybe not even zucchini, even softer.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, all right, I'll steam these, and I guess that'll work. But then I figured out I can bake things, and I can shred the potatoes to make potato pancakes, and blend up a red pepper to make a sauce. Like, this stuff I had never thought about. I was essentially rebuilding my body from the inside out, which felt amazing because I was not in pain. My bowel movements were controlled. I got the, my parents to smile when they saw me instead of kind of like look at me like they're scared. And I got my freedom back, so as I'm rebuilding my body, even now, I'm able to push harder, run farther, lift higher. It's kind of surreal, and it almost feels like a superhero movie. I don't even think about going to the bathroom now. It's not on my radar, and that was something I had thought about every day, every minute for 10 years, is where's the bathroom? What's going to happen? And am I going to have an accident? I did have an accident. Now I got to clean up, and I got to worry about all this stuff. That's just silent now. It's silent, and it's replaced with, what do I feel like doing? And then I can just go do that.
Yeah.
Get the routines down and be consistent with what I'm eating, because feeling this way is way better than anything tastes. And that was a hard lesson for me to learn. But I'm so glad.
You're eating so much fiber as well, which is something that, people are told not to eat. What do you say to that?
I say it's a bunch of BS. I mean, I over 3,000 calories a day of pure delicious fiber. And it's amazing. It's a bunch of, yeah. I know how it feels. I've done my own research, and I've learned a lot about it. I think fiber is the thing that will help you heal and rebuild. It fuels your microbiome, and it helps give your body the building blocks it needs.
Hey guys, welcome to another video. I am so excited to share this testimonial with you guys today because Jake here has done an absolutely amazing job to get his life back, and I can't even describe how amazing his journey has been. And obviously this is what this testimonial is for, and he's going to speak about it with you guys. So obviously, we're going to break down his journey. So from when he was diagnosed to how much he struggled with UC and medications and things that he was taking. Then we're going to obviously go through how he found us, why a plant-based diet, what is his life like now, and what advice would you give to others. So let's start off with you, Jake, and talk to us about what your life was like when you got diagnosed, how long you've had the disease for, and explain how much you struggled over the years, and we'll obviously go the next steps after that.
Yeah, sounds good. It's been, I mean, like you said, it's been a long journey, man. I've had this for over 10 years, and it seems ridiculous every time I think about it, and just how crazy it's been. Back when, as far as I can remember, at least with this condition, it was back in high school where I really remember things taking a turn. And I was very active. I was in multiple extracurriculars, running cross country, doing all kinds of stuff with the music department, marching band, drumline, jazz band, all this stuff. Life was good, having, bonfires and going places, traveling with family, just kind of all over the place. Anything that a high school kid could want, really. I was very grateful for all that. And yeah, then about junior year of high school, so this would have been 2010, kind of like getting into the winter time of it. I just remember things were not going good. Things were not feeling right. I was feeling off, and definitely going to the bathroom a lot more. And this was also a very stressful point in my life, which I think the connection could be made for sure. I was a junior in high school, so that meant applying to colleges, figuring out what your life is going to look like. There's all kinds of, relationship stuff going on, friendship stuff, family stuff. It's kind of a big transition period in, I think, anybody's life. But I was managing that stress so poorly, and I think I imploded on myself quite a bit because of all that. And I remember I was at my partner at the time's house, and her dad was a pharmacist, and I remember using the toilet in their house and seeing blood and saying, "What is wrong with me?" Asking for help, asking for advice, and we were just talking about what this could possibly be, and long story short, go see a GI doctor because this is not normal. And so the GI said, "Yep, you've got ulcerative colitis." One colonoscopy later, he started prescribing some medications and all that. And then I was on the medication train real quick. And I trusted completely. I was like, he's a doctor. He knows what he's doing. GI, he studied all these years to know all these things about the colon, and he's got to be able to fix it. It'll be fine.
And that's what we all kind of do, don't we? We believe and we trust. We think that, yes, we believe in the doctors, and we say, okay, well, these guys obviously know what they're doing, and they're going to help me. And that's exactly what I
Yeah.
thought. And that's exactly what a lot of people would be thinking, getting diagnosed with the condition. So what was your kind of thought process during that time when you got diagnosed? I think you were about 17 years old.
Yep.
Um,
Yeah, I was 17.
how did you feel when you got diagnosed with this condition?
It was so weird. It was definitely came out of left field for me because I had never had I wasn't allergic to anything, never broken a bone, despite my kind of wild antics, I guess. Um, just it was never expected, and it totally leveled me because none of my friends had any issues like this, not that I knew of, and none of my family members had anything like this. So I was like the odd duck out with this condition, and I remember being obviously very scared, but also pretty optimistic. Like, all right, I got a doctor, medication will be fine. This will be no big deal. I'll be over this soon, and it'll almost feel like I had, chicken pox or something.
You know what's
Uh,
funny? You know what's really funny is because that relates to my journey as well. Because I was also really fit, or fit. I thought I was doing everything right in my life. I was enjoying myself, and it kind
mhm.
of just hit me, like it probably just hit you, and you're kind of like, "Whoa, what's going on here?" I haven't had any
Right.
issues. I haven't been on any medications for my whole life,
Hmm.
and I'm suddenly hit with this thing, and that's what happened to me. And then I obviously went to the hospital, and you
Yeah.
might know my journey. For those watching, the doctor obviously said, "Yep, you're gonna have to be on medications for the rest of your life." And I was just like, "Whoa," taken back by that because I was like, something doesn't seem
Right.
right, something doesn't seem right. So, it just jumps up on you,
Mhm.
and you're kind of like, "Whoa." So what was I guess, what did you do next in terms of carrying on with your life? Did you make any changes, obviously, and how were the symptoms before, and what were you going through at the time with the medications?
Yeah. Yeah. Where do I think I'll start with the medications because my journey progressed with medication the whole way. So after I got diagnosed, I got put on sulfasalazine, the little orange tablets, and I was on 9 pills a day. So 3 pills every meal, and they're just a little bit smaller than a U.S. dime.
Mm.
So they were pretty big pills, and I remember carrying around this big old like canister of pills in my jacket. Is pretty ridiculous. Um, and so I started on the pills, didn't change anything about my eating habits. I honestly don't remember even thinking about what I was eating much back then because I was also a teenager going through college. I could eat whatever I wanted, whenever I wanted, and it never really affected me. So I didn't think about it much. And the symptoms, I just kind of dealt with them. There were some stomach pains and some, loose stools, and I had more frequent trips than usual. But again, I thought this is just a hump. I'll get over it. No big deal. Then stuff started to get really, really bad. I was having to like stop moving for a little bit because any little movement would be painful or uncomfortable or trigger a bowel movement or something like that. And that's when I got put on prednisone. Um, Over the course of my my medical journey here, I was probably on prednisone on and off about 8 times, and that's the whole like weaning process of
Yeah,
4 to
right.
eight
Wow.
weeks. And so every time I had a flare up, blood in the stool, anything like that, or every time I went to check in with my doctor, I'd say it's still wrong, and he'd say, "Here's some more prednisone for the flare up." And obviously that didn't help. And prednisone has those nasty side effects. So as things got even worse, then we tried budesonide. I was on that for about 4 years, it's still a steroid, but instead of the harsh effects of prednisone, it was a little bit lighter on the side effects. And it was only 1 pill a day, 1 to 2 pills a day, which I was thrilled about. I said, all right, if I have to take medicine for the rest of my life, this is fine. It was still pretty ridiculous to hear as a teenager and a young adult that I'm going to be on medication forever.
Hmm.
But again, I thought this was just going to be easy. Everyone else has issues. They take meds and they're fine. But then it didn't get better. Throughout college and then after college, um, after I graduated, things kind of plummeted again. And that's when I really started hitting the research hard, because this whole time I was just like, medication worked, it's fine. And didn't really dive into it much until I started, I was bedridden for a few days. I was throwing up. I think I got food poisoning one time from a Taco Bell or something like that. And I was like, all right, enough of this. This is not getting better. I need to do something. And all my research led to YouTube videos and books talking about how the diet I was eating is probably a pretty big culprit, along with all these other variables. But then I ran into Dr. David Klein's book, Self-Healing Crohn's and Colitis, did a little bit of research in that, and just kind of spiraled from there. I made the decision to go vegan almost overnight after reading that, because it all just made sense to me. And I knew that when I ate more fruits and vegetables, I felt better. So I figured I'd give it a try. However, my diet was so varied, and I was so used to eating all kinds of stuff, that I hit the vegan junk food pretty hard. All the fake meats, the fake cheeses, anything with oil in it, and lots of salt. Those were my kryptonite. But I didn't know any better. I didn't really know how to cook a whole lot outside of spaghetti and simple soups and stuff. So, yeah. And then, so things were really bad, and I went on Remicade, which was my biologic, my first ever biologic medicine. For anybody who doesn't know, you go in the hospital and the medicine is in a bag that they have to drip into your veins through an IV. Remicade took about 3 hours per dose, and sometimes I would get 2 doses, and that was once a month at least.
Wow.
But between Remicade and my next medication, biologic, was Entyvio. I also had to get a couple blood transfusions because I was just losing so much blood. Iron infusions. I was down real bad. And then I just started getting weaker and weaker and weaker until I was just withering away, sitting there sick and pooping blood.
Wow. And this just shows you that, even though you go vegan,
Right.
Vegan is an ethical standpoint. It's not a diet per se. And,
Right.
obviously you went vegan for ethical reasons because you didn't like what was going on with the whole animals dying and stuff like that. So obviously you made those conscious choices and you made those ethical choices to do that. But obviously, those foods are still not healthy for us. And that's why you probably didn't see any kind of improvement, because it was just, processed food to another processed food. And you can't compare junk to junk because they're both junk food. Obviously, there's one has less killing or one has no killing, and maybe better for the environment. And that's probably what you saw, and you go, well, that aligns with my values. So you were going through all these infusions. You had to go to the hospital. I chucked some photos up of yourself and when you were struggling. Talk about the experience of being on these drugs. What was it like? And did you face any side effects at all or anything like that?
Yeah. So I was obviously new. I had been on them throughout my college years and then post university time. So into the workforce, I had to go to the hospital once a month, see my same nurses who were incredible, a wonderful support system in assuring me that this was going to be okay and that they were able to help kind of calm my nerves every time I went in. But they would poke me. I would sit there, watch Fresh Prince of Bel-Air or whatever was on TV, and it was weird. It got to be a routine for me, where it was not only a time, I'm going to go back home and go to the hospital and see grandma and visit with friends and family and get an infusion, but it was more of an inconvenience at that point. But after a while, I developed some scar tissue in my veins that they kept hitting. Even though we went around to different veins, some scar tissue was building up, and it made every other poke like that much more painful. And I was so fed up with it. The bills alone should have made me look to something else. But
How much did it cost you to, obviously you had insurance, luckily,
yeah,
but how
thankfully
much did you?
insurance paid for it. But if I didn't have any insurance or anything running through a system, um, face value, a couple of those biologics were upwards of $40,000 a dose. And even with insurance, I was still paying thousands of dollars for this every month.
That's ridiculous. And so, were you seeing any kind of improvements in terms of your symptoms at all?
I would see some, but I think they would only last about 2 weeks. And then I would either spiral into something else, like a flare up, or get sick or something like that. But it really didn't last long. And I started noticing a change when I was on Entyvio after 4 years. I I finally noticed, I was like, I don't feel any different now than I did, 2 years ago, and nothing had changed except this drug. So I was like, well, this isn't working either. The next step would be a different biologic or surgery. And surgery was on the table since day one. When I got diagnosed, the doc said, this is awful. We can cut this out and you can poop in a bag, and you'll be fine. You don't have to change anything. But I refused it every time. I said, there's got to be a better way. I don't want to do that, especially as a 17-year-old.
Yeah, exactly. So, all right. So, what were the next steps? You were kind of sick of doing this. Nothing was really helping you from a medical standpoint. What did you do next?
I decided I'm going to take charge and put this all in my own hands. And that meant diving into books like David Klein, lots of research on the internet, and also researching more about food and nutrition and how it can benefit your body. I mean, logically, it makes sense. If you give your body the stuff it needs, it'll work properly, just like any other machine. And so I started working with some nutritionists, both online and in person, and started getting guidance when I would go to the grocery store. They would literally help me pick out this, not that, into my cart, which was super helpful. But again, it was just kind of getting me to the next step. So it was good, but I still didn't really know how to make everything work harmoniously. So I was watching YouTube videos, and then eventually stumbled across high carb health when I was searching something along the lines of, I need to find a person who has UC and cured it themselves naturally, something along the lines of that. And I saw you pop up and dove into your videos, and I loved that you were so chill, you were so genuine and authentic, but also you backed it all up with research, and that clicked for me. I need to look at their website, see if I can call them or email them or something, because here was a guy who did it, and I could do it too. There's no reason why I can't.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely, and that's when we obviously had the free consultation, because
Yep.
the reason why I do the free consultation is so that I can get to know you, and
Right.
for you to get to know me and be like, hey, who is this guy? What is he about? And I think from that point, like we got on pretty well, and
Hmm.
I think the rest is history. But
Yeah.
I think that that initial consultation was what really gave you some hope, wasn't it? And obviously the testimonials, and watching those testimonials, and here we are now. But
Yeah.
what was it that you kind of clicked, or what was it that you wanted to join and help yourself?
Absolutely. Well, first off, the word free tripped my mind because I'm kind of a cheapskate, especially when it comes to big decisions like this. But I wanted to work with somebody who I could get some info from without having to give them any money or any personal information, because there's lots of scams out there and people who just want to take your money. Um, and after meeting you, I could totally tell we clicked. It was exactly what I was looking for. somebody who is genuine, had my condition and healed themselves and also dives into the research, that just ticked all the boxes for me. And I knew this would be something that I would not regret. I mean, I would have paid you any amount of money at that point. Seriously, especially knowing what I know now, I go through it all again. And I just wish I would have found you sooner.
Yeah, man. I think that's what everyone basically does say, don't they?
Yeah.
And same with me, you know, if I found this lifestyle sooner, I would have been so much better off. But I guess everything happens at the right time and place, and we just have to accept that it's better late than never, you know.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, you make a good point about there's so much misinformation out there, and who do you trust these days, right? Who do you trust?
Hmm.
Who comes across as someone that is willing to help
Right.
and support? And I think that's what you found in me. And for me, I want to work with someone that knows what they're doing, right? And has done a little bit of research and gone, okay, what I was doing previously in my life was not working. And you know,
Right.
you can't heal in the same environment you got sick in. So there needs to
Hmm.
be a change. And I think you were looking for that change, and I was ready to give you that change and give you direction. And
Yeah.
I think it was probably, you know, it was an amazing journey for me and you, because we honestly learned a lot about each other, and obviously you learned a lot about yourself.
Mhm.
And I think let's talk about, you know, how the program was. What was the food situation like for you? How did you find, um, you know, what were the challenges that you faced, I guess, when you were going through this journey? And let's kind of talk about that aspect and how you got on.
Sure. Well, when I switched over to a plant-based diet originally, I was with a group that was kind of helping me along my dietary needs and my daily recipes and things like that, called the IBD diet, which is wonderful and it's plant-based, but for my condition, for my insides, it was not working for me. Lots of different textures and nutrients that just were not able to be absorbed by my colon at the time. And that was hard. So we started off, and I got hooked up on Chronometer, which is something I had never done before. I'd never really tracked my daily activities that intensely before, but that's exactly what I needed. I needed that accountability, something that I can see progress every day, and my mom can see progress. um, but it was absolutely extraordinary. It was exactly what I needed. I need someone to figuratively slap me in the back of the head and say, "This is what you need to do to heal, because I'm here to help you, and I've done it." And it was crazy. So uh, every day I would mark down what I'm eating, and every week I would meet with Shamiz, and yeah, we would talk about what I've been eating, how I've been feeling, why I've been feeling that way, and then kind of make steps for next week, little tweaks here and there. But there was a good chunk of it where it was just repetition. And that was the hardest thing for me, coming from a very varied diet of lots of different great plant-based foods, but uh, it was too much. I was beating my colon to death, literally,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
that
that's right.
that was a hard part.
Yeah, I think one of the things that I remember is when we first kind of started speaking, um, the smoothie that you were eating previously had probably around 6 to 7 ingredients inside of it, and I was like,
Yeah.
whoa, 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 hold up. You know, you don't need to put so much stuff in your smoothie, and I'm sure some people out there might be doing the same thing as you, where you were putting your omega seeds, your flax seeds, and
Right.
you know, having the bananas, the blueberries, the mangoes, whatever, but you were also adding peanut butter. You were having, you know,
Hmm.
all sorts of different fats in there, thinking you needed that to gain weight, because I think weight
Right.
loss was one of your concerns, wasn't it? Because
Yep.
you had, you know, already started to lose a lot of weight, and I think that
Hmm.
was concerning for not only yourself but your family too. And I think we'll talk about that a little bit later. But
For sure.
you know, when you start to heal your gut, you don't want to think that, oh, I'm just going to put everything inside of it and let my body digest it, because it physically probably won't be able to digest it because it's inflamed. And
Yep.
when it's inflamed, you want to try and minimize the amount of food that you put inside of yourselves, so that your body can optimize the digestion, so that one particular food can get digested nice and easily. And that's why I think initially you found it quite challenging, because the same food over and over again. But what that meant was that your gut was able to heal itself because it had the right conditions to do so. Whereas previously you were kind of chucking in all sorts of different fibers, and your gut wasn't sort of working as well as it should. And so that tweak that we made to consistently eat the same food over and over again, which would be fruit and have a cooked meal, and sometimes we'd mix it up. I think when I work with a lot of people, I individualize people's cases, obviously. So your case would be a little bit different to the next person, and that person would be a little bit different to this person. But overall, the idea is that simplify until your gut gets better, then reintroduce a whole new type of fiber and different fibers, so that the body can then adjust, and the microbiome can also adjust with all these different fibers. So definitely, I think it is a challenge for anyone that is coming from a very varied diet to eating simple foods. But I tell you, if you had, like you said, if you'd gone back, you would have done it all again, because that what you were doing was making sense, and it was working. And talk about how you started to see the differences in your bowel movements, specifically the bowel movements at night, and how the body started to heal. Talk about that.
Yeah, for sure. Like you said, I was putting all this great stuff in a blender and saying, "Why isn't this working? This is exactly what I researched would work." But it really wasn't. I needed to adjust my combinations. And so as things got more simpler, a lot easier to manage, a lot easier to cook, and just the repetition, I think, then became a mental game. And so at nighttime, when I was starting out with high carb health, I was probably going to the toilet 4 to 5 times a night, and that's not good enough sleep for your body to heal and rebuild. And I knew that, and my habits at the time, especially for dealing with my mental health and stress, just were not contributing to that. So I was going to the toilet, I don't know, 10 to 12 times a day, all loose, no formed, feeling groggy, feeling weak. And then I would go to bed at night thinking I can finally rest, but really it just keeps going. And it wasn't until we made the switch to being more simple and repetitive where I started to see the bowel movements decrease. And we got it down to, I think in the middle of it, I was still going like 4 times a day, 4 or 5 times a day, but only once at night, which was revolutionary to me at the time, because I had been getting up in the middle of the night for the last 10 years, at least a couple times.
That's ridiculous. I couldn't even believe that that's what you considered normal. That was like, oh, that's what I've been doing for such a long time. It's not too much of an issue. But I'm like, hey, hang on a second. That's not how you should live your life. And also, just to make a point there, that you were digesting foods, and what was coming out was very pasty and liquidy. It wasn't necessarily a formed bowel movement. And I think as you started to simplify, this started to change. And I think that's when we talked about how when your bowels are starting to form, the bowel movements at night will start to get less. And that kind of encouraged you to keep going, didn't it? And the blood. The blood was a key factor in this as well, because it kind of slowly went away.
Yes. Yeah, once the blood went, I saw my first kind of marker of progress that I'd never seen with medication. The blood was always there, even if it was a drop or two. I counted it because I shouldn't be bleeding. But yeah, once that went away, I knew I was on the right track and with the right person here.
And talk about the weight loss too, because that was a bit of a concern for not only yourself but your family.
Whew, yeah, the weight loss, I say, was the hardest part for me and everybody in my immediate circle. I mean, I've never been like a huge buff dude in my whole life, so I didn't really have a whole lot of weight to lose in my experience. And when I had switched to the simple foods, like 2 smoothies a day, some steamed veggies at night, my weight plummeted. I think I started somewhere around 145, 150, and I plummeted over the course of a few weeks to down to 111, which was the lowest, I believe. And that got scary, not just for me, but for my parents, for my partner, my siblings, and my grandparents. Everyone was pretty much freaking out and thinking I was withering away to nothing. But the thing that kept everybody going, especially myself, trying to convince them that I'm fine, is my energy level never reduced to the point where, well, I mean, my energy level was always great, except when I was extremely fatigued before I had lost all the weight. And so I lost all this weight, which also made muscle mass decrease as well. So it was in that regard, but my mental state was still good, and my energy level was fine. I was starting to become myself again as I was putting the pounds back on, even if it was 1 pound a week or 1 pound every couple weeks. But the weight loss was tough. I think that was the scariest part for most people. A lot of my supporters were, they never stopped supporting me, but they were always very concerned. And they had reason to be, because I was the skinniest I've ever been, and it looked like I was just going to dissolve.
Hello, it's been a while since I've given a formal update on my situation. I figured why not do it now while I'm in the middle of my biggest transition yet. I've been going through a lot of changes, as you could probably see now you can really see how my weight has changed, but actually for the better. I'm now working with high carb health and restructuring my everything about my life, but in the best way. It truly has taken every ounce of my energy and strength to get through this and to conquer this. But I believe that I'm actually healing because things are improving. I can see results every day in the toilet. But until I can see, there we go. Until I can see results on the outside, I will be satisfied immensely with the results on the inside, because it's absolutely incredible. It's incredible how I'm feeling, my energy levels, how I'm sleeping. It's absolutely incredible, and I can't wait to look back on this video and not only be proud of myself for like sticking with it, because it's hard, and I hate looking like this, but I love feeling like this, and I know it will get better. But I'm basically documenting what I'm going through now, because one day I'm going to look back at this, and I know you're watching it right now. I can see you watching it right now, and you're smiling like a big goof because you used to look this way, and now you're healthy, and you're beating people on the track, and you're climbing higher and faster and stronger than you ever thought you could before. So this is for you, future self, for you, my family, for you, Allie, and everybody who's been on this journey with me. Thank you for your support, especially when things are bad and things get hard. But I'm looking up. There is a bright side, and I can't wait. I can't wait until you watching this video are looking back and just happy and whole and strong I bet you freaking ripped. Freaking. Good job. I'm proud of you. We'll see soon.
I had never looked like that, and I hated feeling like that.
Absolutely.
All eyes on me.
Yeah.
Just like, are you going to die?
No, yeah. So, I mean, it is scary, and that's why I think it was interesting, because we had a chat to your parents as well, and I talked to your parents and said, look, this is how the body heals, and this is why weight loss happens. And I think they started to understand a little bit, I guess, and it was hard to kind of convince your parents, obviously, but I told them, just hang in there, support him as much as you can, and he will bounce back. He will come through this. And I already knew that your body was going to come back, because your symptoms had improved so significantly at that time that you weren't going to the bathroom so many times, and your calories were up. You were getting nutrition, but it was your body that was trying to heal, and that was why these things were happening to you. Because, like we talked about, like, I'm eating the same food as you. Why is my body not going through this, detox or weight loss or anything like that? It once did, obviously 8 years ago, but why is this happening to you? And I think explaining that to you helped, and that really kind of pushed you to keep going. And as we see now, you had to go through that to be where you are today. And it was just, now that your parents obviously understand what you're going through and see you now, you can look back and you can reflect and be like, okay, that's why it happened, and that's why you went through that weight loss. So it is a concern, but it's not a concern because you know that your body is actually working really well. Because, my body now is, back up to a healthy weight, and I don't need to go through that detox or healing journey because my body's already done that. And, I eat the same food as, everyone that is doing the healing diet, and it doesn't affect me because my body is in a good shape and it digests food really nicely. And I think that's where you start to see the differences in your bowels. Your formation started to happen a lot more, bowel movement started to reduce, and you were away on your journey. So I guess we've talked about the challenges. Now talk about the benefits, talk about the good things that happened during this healing journey and how you basically found this light at the end of the tunnel, and that kept getting brighter and brighter and brighter. So talk about that.
Oh, man. Oh, it gets me all giddy just thinking about it. I mean, the hardest lesson for me to learn was that I was my own problem, but also my own solution. And with the correct guidance, I could do anything. And even though I did lose all that weight, I also lost all the toxins in my body that I had been building up this whole time. So that when it was time to heal and to rebuild, I was essentially rebuilding my body from the inside out, which felt amazing because I was not in pain. My bowel movements were controlled. I got my parents to smile when they saw me instead of kind of like look at me like they're scared. And I got my freedom back, so as I'm rebuilding my body, even now, I'm able to push harder, run farther, lift higher. It's kind of surreal, and it almost feels like a superhero movie, kind of like coming into my strength. It really is real how much stronger I am even before all this happened. I think my heaviest, most strongest self was about 170 pounds of mostly muscle. And I thought I was bad. I thought that was really cool. Yeah. And I thought I looked great and was stronger than I've ever been. But now, even though I'm less than that working back up to it, I feel like I could outdo my prior self even now. And I don't even think about going to the bathroom now. It's not on my radar. And that was something I had thought about every day, every minute for 10 years is where's the bathroom? What's going to happen? And am I going to have an accident? I did have an accident. Now I got to clean up and I got to worry about all this stuff. That's just silent now. It's silent, and it's it's replaced with, what do I feel like doing? And then I can just go do that.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
That's the
amazing.
luxury, isn't it, that you have and that we all should have,
Yeah.
because we shouldn't be in disease. We shouldn't have all these problems. And I think,
Right.
just putting the right fuel inside of you, you've seen the change in your body, and now your body is able to function at its best. And that's why you are noticing this beautiful new life that should have been your life all along. But
Right.
unfortunately, we are not told to do these things because of education. It's all about education, and that's why your testimonial, your story is going to be so influential for other people to do the same, and really rebuild and recoup, because this is I think the best way to do it. It's the most natural way to heal the body, to go through this process. And I think one of the other big things that happened to you in your healing journey was the urgency. I think that started to get
Yeah.
less and less and less, and that's when you started to be like, hang on a second, I actually don't need to go to the bathroom,
Right.
and just being able to hold the stool in. How was that feeling as well when you were going several times a day before you even started with us, and before when you had that condition? How did it feel to kind of have that control?
Oh, monumental. Monumental. I was a slave to the toilet and
Mm,
to my bowels. Um, anytime I felt any sort of urgency, even if it was a little bit, I would run. I'd bolt, stop what I'm doing, go, because you have to go. Otherwise, you're going in your pants, which
mm,
happened a lot of times. And the once I got the urgency under control, I remember celebrating with my mom, and I was like, I'm holding it. Like I can hold it now. It feels great, a little uncomfortable, but it was a win for me that I was in control a little bit now. And over time, I was in more and more control. And now I'm totally in control. I decide when I want to go to the bathroom. Um, my my meetings can wait, my activities can wait for me, and when I'm ready. And
it's
it's
powerful.
incredible.
It's powerful, because this
It
is
is
this
very
is
powerful.
this is a disease that incontinence is something that happens to every single person. I've been through it. You've been through it. Many others have probably been through it. Where we just can't hold in our stool. And I've shat my pants many times when I was going through my
Right.
healing journey, and even before I found this lifestyle, I did shit my pants.
Yep.
But we don't have to do that anymore, and it's amazing to have that beautiful feeling of, oh yep, I can go whenever I need to go, and I can hold it. So as you were going through the healing journey, while the diet was quite restrictive, you found lots of different ways of cooking the same food, didn't you? And I think that was really key, because when you would pass it through me and say, is this okay? Then I'd say, yeah, go for it. And then, that's how we would adapt new foods into this post-healing phase that you went through as well. But yeah, talk about how you got so inventive in the kitchen, and how this was a new learning opportunity for you to actually cook.
Yeah. Oh, the cooking process was crazy because we would start with basically potatoes, carrots, and broccoli. Maybe not even zucchini, even softer.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, all right, I'll steam these, and I guess that'll work. But then I figured out I can bake things, and I can shred the potatoes to make potato pancakes, and blend up a red pepper to make a sauce. Like this stuff I had never thought about, and I'd gotten so creative with the foods that I was eating because I had to, and I was used to this varied diet. So even though I had all the same simple ingredients, I just repackaged it onto my plate in a different way that made me feel great mentally, and like accomplished. And I can honestly say I'm a better chef, or a better cook, um, because of this, because I had to get creative, and I actually had a lot of fun doing that. And then every week I would say, can we add this yet? Or what about this? What about leeks or onions or garlic? And Shamiz would say, like, yes, but not yet. So try this first, or do it a little bit here. And then every time he would say, all right, let's include a little bit of onion or a little bit of garlic, or whatever. That was a huge win for me. I remember celebrating with whoever I was around. Just like, I get to eat garlic again.
Yeah.
And like it was these little wins, and I don't take any of it for granted now. It's in everything I eat, I appreciate a lot more,
Absolutely.
because I remember the time where it was literally harmful for me to eat that. And I remember feeling like, oh, everything's taken away from me, and not focusing on the amazing things I could eat. And now every meal is a celebration.
Absolutely, man. And how much has it opened up your, I guess, dictionary and just the amount of different foods that you can eat now as well that you've never been able to eat before. And that's, it's amazing when you can get to that point where you have gone through the hard yards and slowly reintroduce new foods for your microbiome and so many other aspects to that, so many different fibers and so much other nutrition that comes from those kind of foods as well. So I think, like you said, as I spoke to you every week, we started to incorporate different foods here and there, and would take it slow, come back, take it slow. This is the post-healing phase that we talk about, and it's very important to get things right and not to rush into things. And that's what I kept telling you, is that, look, we don't want to do things too fast, because then it can set off a chain of events that you don't want to happen. And because you understood that, and because you started to really, you just, honestly, you just nailed it, man. You did everything you were told. You did everything that, you were supposed to, because if you had gone and done something differently, your body would have probably changed. And that's why I think, people that are listening to this, Jake honestly just did everything he was told, and it was so great because he did that, he started to see the results, and he wouldn't get annoyed and frustrated at what he was doing because he was seeing those results. And slowly, I kept I kept reassuring that things are going to come, different new foods are going to come. And I think one of the main things that you sort of started to like is the smoothies in the morning. I remember you didn't like them at the start, and then you started to grow into them, and that was awesome. So the post-healing phase is really important, and we did that really well with you.
Yeah, I'd definitely like to add that while I did my absolute best, I was not perfect. And there were lots of slip ups here and there, but my weekly meetings with Shamiz just they kept me on track. They nudged me back, but it was not without my share of anger and sadness and frustration and all that, the things that happen behind the scenes. But another cool thing that I think was very significant in my healing process was getting my mental health in check. And you were there to help through that as well. I had my own support system that I was working with, but you were a key component in reassuring me that it's gonna get better. I promise. Just like keep pushing, even when it was rough, when I was losing weight. It's gonna be okay. I was there. It's gonna be fine. But we would chat about mental health and stress management quite a bit. And that was really helpful for me to even just get something out and talk to someone. You were always making yourself available, which is exactly what I needed at the time. And that was a huge component in my healing, was getting my mental health right.
I think it's underestimated, isn't it? And we really don't give that aspect to our lives or our lifestyle significance. And I think it's, as males, as men, we don't like to talk about these issues that we have. And I think this needs to be brought up because, honestly, it can really make or break your healing journey. And if you are not mentally prepared to do this, and if you're not mentally able to be strong, you are going to suffer. And however clean your diet is, if your mental aspect is not, taken care of, you will not see the results that you're looking for. And I think you did an amazing job to really think about so many, or your awareness, man. Your awareness of what you were doing in your own life was really key. And I think this cannot be explained in terms of
Yeah.
how we connected and how we did the mental work. And I guess that's where, because we clicked so well, it was very easy for me to really talk about the mental aspect on how I went through what I went through, and then how do we take it above that, and where do
Right.
we go next in terms of, you know, our beliefs and our values and all that kind of stuff. So I think you started to understand where I was coming from, and you started to apply it to your own life, and that's where the success is coming in your life now, because you're not so worried about things anymore. The anxiety has just dropped off like crazy. And
Hmm.
while obviously, yes, you say, you know, you're not 100% perfect, but your life has changed so significantly that that component in your life has a major role to play. I think even more than the diet itself, to be honest. And
Yep.
you know, it's been amazing to bounce off you and you bounce off me. And like we talked about, how everyone is a mirror. Um,
Yeah.
and yeah, it's been amazing to talk about that stuff with you, because it is a massive part to play. It has a massive part to play.
Another really cool thing that I've learned along this journey that has helped me incredibly is thinking about food as a tool instead of a source of uh,
Pleasure.
yeah, pleasure, a source of pleasure. I find a lot of joy in cooking and in eating and just like gathering around food. That is a great source of joy for me. But the pleasure of taste lasts seconds compared to the impact of what you just ate. And thinking about food as a tool has really helped me, get the routines down and be consistent with what I'm eating, because feeling this way is way better than anything tastes. And that was a hard lesson for me to learn. But I'm so glad that I think
You're
that.
here now, and you're experiencing how it feels to, you know,
Right.
eat the best food you can. You're fueling yourself with the right foods. That's why you're feeling so good. Obviously, if you didn't fuel yourself with the right foods, you wouldn't feel good, you know? So
Right.
you have to eat healthy to be healthy. You can't eat shit food and expect your body to be healthy, you
Right.
know? And I think once you understand that, and once you understand that amazing experience of being so healthy feels, you know, the food automatically tastes amazing on top of
It
that.
does, yeah. It
And
still tastes great.
and no one can experience you. No one can tell you that. You have to
Right.
experience it yourself, and that's
Yep.
why it's so important that this feeling outweighs the taste. But then the taste comes back.
Right. It's like trusting the unknown. You telling me when I'm down to my lowest weight, like you'll be fine, you'll bounce back, just give it time. I was really didn't want to trust you. I wanted to say, nope, this isn't working. I got to do something else. But I did. And same with the food. Like, all right, it's simple now, but
Yeah,
it'll get
yeah,
more varied later and it'll still be awesome.
yeah.
And it really was about trusting the unknown with that, because my dinners and my smoothies are incredible. I could eat this stuff, or I will eat this stuff for the rest of my life because it's that awesome.
Yeah.
And I'm learning a lot more about food and cooking in general. Um, yeah.
Speaking of, what is your life like now? How do you feel? And just break it down for us, man. Break it down for us.
Yes. So most nights, depending on how late I eat, it's zero bowel movements at night. The only thing that wakes me up is the cat, who seems to walk on my face. Um, but yeah, so I'm sleeping better. My mental health is way more in check. I'm just like at peace more often. Not all the time, but more often, recognizably. And I'm working out every single day, 5 days a week. I'm able to keep up with other people doing various strength and cardio activities, and sometimes go farther uh, than I ever used to. It's amazing. I'm cooking. I still have my 2 smoothies a day, my breakfast and lunch smoothie with some fruit snacks, not fruit snacks, but fruit snacks, some grapes and kiwis, stuff like that in between. And then I cook this feast every night. My appetite has always been up, my appetite and energy, I've always been able to eat a lot. So I cook this massive feast of delicious, healing, satiating foods, and I love it. I don't care how long it takes me to eat. I will do that every day to feel this good.
Absolutely. And you've introduced so many different foods. You know, you're basically on the whole grain, fruits, vegetables, whole grains, legumes,
Yep,
nuts and seeds. And you have
all
really
of it.
found a really amazing balance, just like I have. And I guess, you know, I've
Mhm.
taught you how to incorporate these beautiful foods together, and be very consistent with your food, because consistency is definitely really key. So it's pretty amazing that, you know, you can eat so many different varieties of food now, you know, that you would have never once imagined eating, even when you had colitis back in the day. And you know, well, you're eating so much fiber as well, which is something that, you know, people are told not to eat. What do you say to that?
Um, I say it's a bunch of BS. I mean, I eat over 3,000 calories a day of pure, delicious fiber.
Mm,
Um, and it's amazing. It's a bunch of, yeah. I know how it feels. I've done my own research,
yeah,
and I've learned a lot about it. Um, I think fiber is the thing that will help you heal and rebuild.
yeah.
It fuels your microbiome, and it helps give your body the building blocks it needs.
Absolutely, absolutely. So let's let's just kind of finish up with why you decided to stay plant-based, or why did you change initially as well, and why are you continuing to eat this way for the rest of your life? What is it that makes you eat this way, and what do you see going forward in terms of, you know, how your life is going to end up, or, you know, how do you see yourself in the next 10 years?
Yeah, in the next 10 years, uh, I'm hoping to look like Superman and feel like Superman. Because I feel pretty good now, but I know it's going to get better. From aside from obvious ethical reasons, like sustainability, and animal cruelty and all that, even if that's not on the table for anybody watching this, just doing it for your health. If you look into the science and the research behind it, physiologically, this is what our body needs, and the easiest way to get it is through the plant-based diet that I'm eating. And I have never felt this good on consuming any other foods, in really any variety. And I see myself really trying to help others heal in any way I can, even if it's just sharing my story, or chatting with them. And I don't want anyone else to go through what I had to go through if they can prevent it. And I would just love to share this story and share your story and everything that you represent, and just really bring people together around this, because healing is possible and it is happening. I'm proof of it. You're proof of it, and countless other people. So in 10 years, inspire somebody, look great, feel great, and
Just
keep
be.
going strong. Just be. Just be.
Just be, that's right.
Just
And
be, enjoy the ride.
enjoy the ride. Have fun. Be happy with everything around you, even if there's something that bad happens in your life, you know, just accept it for what it is. And I think that was one of the key aspects that we talked about
Yeah.
during your mental aspect, and how to live your life in the simplest way possible, how not to complicate it, how not to get in the way, and how you can just live at peace with everything around you, even with your mindset and your mind always telling you not to do that. You
Hmm.
know, how do you overcome that, and how do you become aware of your thoughts, and what do you do about it? So I think we've worked really hard on that aspect, and we will continue to work hard, because you're not going anywhere. You know, we've become really good friends, me and Jake, and, you know, we're going to keep in touch. And, you know, he's probably going to come down to New Zealand one day, and you know,
Yep.
come and see me, and likewise when I come to US. And it's been an awesome journey. I think if I can help other people like I am at this point, like, I think it's just amazing, because there's so much truth to what we do, and you're seeing it right now, and you're feeling it, and you've felt it for such a long time as well. It's been quite a while now since you've really cemented this way of life too, isn't it? And you're not just, this is not just something that lasts for 2 or 3 months. You've been doing this for a while, and you now get it. You get it, and you are doing it, and you are seeing every little benefit, every little inch of your body is showing you the beautiful plant foods, because you're putting in the fuel that really supports your body's functions. And I think that's really important. So I think, just to finish, what advice would you give to anyone else out there that is watching this video?
Yeah, easy. Healing is possible. Whoever's watching this video right now, you can heal yourself, and you can do it with the right support. It'll likely be a little harder than you expect, but it is possible. And that also, anyone watching this video, if you believe anything, it's that you're stronger than you think you are, and you're more powerful than you expect. And that goes for your body, your mind, how much you can influence others, how much you can influence the world around you. You're way more powerful than you think, and that can come out. You can share that with yourself and the people in your circle. It is possible, and high carb health saved my colon and my life.
Absolutely, man. I'm so happy for you, and man, it's been an amazing journey to be with you for such a long time, for 6 months, and really take you through this process of healing, and seeing you grow as a person has been absolutely fantastic. And I wish you all the best. It's been thank you so much for sharing your story as well, because someone else might relate. And it's been amazing, and thank you so much. And we'll hopefully see each other in person. It's always been online, and thank the internet for this, obviously. But it's going to be awesome when we see each other in person, and give you a great big hug, mate, and see that you do have a colon, you don't need to go through surgery, and that you have taken control of your health, and that you are free of UC, and now you have a life after colitis, Jake. So well done.
Yes.
And we'll definitely keep in touch, and we'll hear from you soon.
For sure. Absolutely. You changed my life, man. I'll never stop thanking you for it.
All right. Take care, buddy.
All right. Take care. We'll see you real soon.